Corinna, and I am coming at you from my home farm in Elmore outside of Toledo. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about uh, discovering who your ideal customer is. This was a journey that my husband Kurt and I have been on for quite a while, and we didn't really spend time thinking about that question in the early stages. And I think it's such an important question to address early on. And if you haven't done so yet in your business, I'm going to share an exercise with you in today's recording that I think might be really helpful for you, even if you've been doing CSA for many years. I know that we didn't start this process frankly, until last year, and it has really, really helped us with our advertising to get real clear about who our target audience is. So I have a couple of different tools that I'm going to show you today, and I'm going to even email them to you because I think that they might really help you out. I have a feeling that your customers resemble my customers in terms of what they look like, how they spend, where they went to school, how much money they make, and so forth, what they value. So why does knowing your target audience matter so much? I've heard someone say if you're talking to everyone, then you're talking to no one. And I know that when we first started our CSA 9-10 years ago, we just wanted, we needed 12 shares that first year, and we didn't even know where to start. And frankly, we just wanted bodies. We didn't warm bodies. We didn't really care who they were. I don't think we thought this through. And so we just went out and kind of begged and borrowed and did whatever we could to get people to join. And over time, some of those people stayed with us. Some of them didn't. Maybe you've had that experience too, where your retention rate wasn't very high, or over time you began to attract certain kind of people. And we discovered that there were some people that did really well in our CSA. A certain kind of person seemed to thrive, and then a certain kind of person didn't. And it's almost like after 4 or 5 years, we could almost tell once we started talking with someone, this person probably wouldn't be a good fit for what we do. So not everyone is an ideal CSA customer, and I think that's really important to recognize. You shouldn't have everyone in the world in your CSA. And if you can identify the characteristics of the ideal perfect customer and then do things in your business and in your marketing to attract only those people to you, it's going to be so much easier for you. I know that we've had to fire some people, not literally, but we had customers that just were difficult, and we kind of wished that they would not renew, and we were happy when they didn't. And so I think one of the principles that I've learned over the years is that I have to be willing not only to attract a certain kind of customer, but I have to be okay and willing to repel a customer as well. And the clearer I am on the kind of customer that works best in my business, then the better I'm going to be at messaging and advertising my stuff. So you have to be willing to repel people. So how do you identify who your people are? There's a word out there in the marketing world called ideal customer avatar. That's what they use to discuss this concept. So who is your ideal customer avatar? The short term for that is ICA. Who's your ICA? And I actually have a tool here on the screen in front of you that I'm going to send to you over email. And these are some of the questions. This is a tool that I was given during a training to help me identify who my ideal customer avatar was. And you can see that they ask questions. They really try and help you get at the characteristics of your customer. Male, female, how old are they? Are they married? Are they single? Income level? Where do they work? Do they have kids? And then even down below, they get into things like what magazines or newspapers do they read, or what are their favorite TV shows, where specifically do they live, what are their hobbies. So I want you to really think through, if you already are an established CSA and you've done this for a while, I want you to think about those customers that were loyal to you, that have stayed with you, or maybe were loyal to you for quite a while. And I want you to think about what kind of people were they? Did they have, a certain amount of money? Did they live a certain way? Did they drive a certain kind of car? Did they live in a certain neighborhood? Were they mostly female? Were they mostly retirees, or were they, married with kids? And really try and dive deep and write it down, because the more clear you are about who your ideal person is, the better you're gonna be. And I'm gonna show you how you can use the information that you write down in this exercise later on to help you in your advertising. So I know when we went through this process, I'll kind of just share what our results were. So our customers, we have 400, and I would say that definitely the majority of them are female. I've identified their age range. I haven't done any like tests or studies, but I kind of just know it's between 25 and 45 is the majority of our customers. They're married. They have kids that are between 4 and 12 years old, and when their kids get older, they tend to drop out of the CSA. So that's kind of the target audience for us there. We have mostly families with kids. A lot of them tend to be people with higher income levels. We're not attracting people that are on a crazy budget. These are people that have expendable income to use for things like this, for like a CSA. We attract a lot of teachers and doctors and lawyers and people involved in the arts. I don't know why that is, but I've just noticed that. We also seem to be attractive to homeschooling families. Almost all of our members have gone to college, and we've identified the 4 areas in the Toledo area where they predominantly live. So Toledo, Sylvania, Perrysburg, Maumee in our case. Their hobbies, I won't go into that with you, but some of the magazines that they do, like New York Times, Cooking Light, a lot of the cooking magazines. Many of our people support PBS, public broadcasting. And gosh, then at the very last question in this ICA, I'm going to scroll down. Oh, no, did I put it in here? Oh, yeah, it is. List as many people, companies, and groups that are similar to your customer as possible. That's a really powerful one. And I have a whole host of things. For instance, so I just kind of listed a lot of the stores that I know my customers frequent. Things like Costco. A lot of my customers shop at Costco. It kills me, but they do. We have a couple of coffee shops that are really, really popular that they go to. Blue Apron, I'm sure you guys have heard of them. That's a national chain that sends boxes of pre-packed meals to your door. We have a lot of people that subscribe to Blue Apron in the wintertime. Whole Foods grocery store. And then there's a couple of restaurants that are really popular with them. So I wrote all of those down in this exercise, and it took me about 30 minutes to do all of this. But you know what? The process was so helpful because it gave me clarity about where these people congregate, what their kind of their similarities are. Now, are all my customers in this customer avatar bracket? No, I have people that fall outside this description, but the majority of my people really do resemble this. And this helps me then when I am doing Facebook ads, or when I am writing the copy or the words on my website, or making the words for my flyers. I write to this avatar. I don't try to hit all people and then, therefore get no customers. I'm really targeting a very specific person and speaking to their interests. So, how do you get inside their head? You have to find out. I ask myself a couple of questions. Maybe you want to write these down. But my husband and I actually took a day to really think this through when we were doing some visioning for our business. What are the hopes and dreams of your customers? What are their expectations? So they came to your CSA for a reason. They sought you out for a reason. They didn't, why is it that they're not going to the grocery store? Why did they come to you? So that's a question you really need to mull over. They expect something. They're hoping for something by developing this connection with you. And if you can try to figure out what that is, that will help you enormously in kind of framing your product and your services for that. The second question you need to ask is, what problem are you trying to solve for these customers? So they're coming to you because they want something from you. There's an intrinsic quote unquote problem that in their life that they're hoping you can solve. And if you can get inside of that and figure out and identify what that is immensely helpful. And so my husband and I really took some time to think through that. And one of the ways that we figured this out, this is my second tip. Let me switch to another screen here, is we did an end-of-year survey to our CSA members. And here's what the survey looks like. And I made this for free in Google Forms, which you can find if you have a Gmail account. You can find it in the Google Drive. So easy. If you don't know how to do this, let me know in the comments, and I can go through a video with you at some point and show you how to make this. But I created this form, and this is basically a survey, and then I just sent it out to my entire CSA list, and they had a link to click on, then this would show up, they would answer it, and then hit submit, and then the answers get populated into a report for me. So what I think is so powerful about these surveys can be so huge, and people do not use them enough. And I think I could do a whole session just on surveys, but the power of the survey is in the questions you ask. If you ask the right questions, you are going to get such gold from your customers, and it's going to help you identify your avatar. So I'm going to start at the top, the real power questions here. The first one is a power question for me. Explain why you joined our CSA. What were you hoping it would do for you? What problem were you hoping it would solve? I got so many unbelievably great answers for this, and I'll show them to you at the end. But this just really gave me an insight into why were they coming to me? What were they hoping to get out of the CSA experience? Getting the answer to that really tells you a lot about who your customer is and what they value. And then you have to make sure that you're using those value statements in your advertising, because you want to attract more of the same kind of customer. And if you know what the majority of them are coming to you for, then you deliver that in your advertising. So then I had the second question. These are just the standard, rate the following elements of your CSA. The third question, what part of the CSA did you like the most? This is always a fun one because it tells you what you're doing well and where you need to make sure that you keep your strength zone strong. Let's see. What would you recommend to make your CSA experience better? What pain points did you experience during your membership? Always a powerful question. I always sandwich this in between two positive questions, though. But don't be afraid to ask this question. And when they give you their responses, pay attention to them, and then try to develop content or solutions around them the following year. I'll kind of share some of that later on too. And then this one was a fun one. If you were writing a cheat sheet called the 3 tips and tricks I've learned from making the most of my CSA box each week, what tips would you suggest? I got so many fun responses from this one. And the answers that I got, I'm actually using in my social media posts and in my training for my new rookies this coming year. So this actually gave me content to use to help other people get better. I didn't have to sit there and get inside the head of my customer. So I could figure out from their responses, what were the things that they struggled with? What were the walls that they hit when they joined the CSA? What's the advice that they're sharing with people? And that has been so helpful for me as I've developed my course for my rookies, how to succeed, the roadmap to CSA success, how to succeed as a rookie. So, and then this last question, these last 2 questions, this is a question you always want to have. Do you plan to renew your membership next season? And then if you are renewing, what is one thing you wish you could know more about next season? And this is a very powerful question too, because it helps me identify what I need to teach and what content I need to create over the winter to make next season better. Okay, I'm showing this to you because these questions helped me get at behind the scenes inside my customer's head and see what they're like. Now let me see if I can pull up the responses. Okay, so I went through all the data. Let me just show you. This is the giant Google Doc. So these are all the different answers that people gave. I put things in green that I thought were really powerful. So I just got tons and tons and tons of responses. And look at this stuff. This is just huge. It's a huge document. I mean, I'm not even going to go through it all. I will send this to you guys as an email because I think it's powerful. And like I said, I really feel like a lot of the responses from my customers are probably similar to yours. But here are the big themes. So we went through all of those surveys, and this is what we saw people saying. And now this is what helps me see into the mind of my customer avatar. So what our customers say they value the most about our CSA product. Number one by far, they kept talking about how they loved supporting a local business, having that relationship with a farmer. That was, 83 responses. It was huge. It kept showing up over and over again, either literally local business. I love supporting local business. I love supporting local farmers. I love getting to know Kurt. It was just ridiculous. So that was by far number one. Number two, having fresh quality produce. People talked about the word fresh. They talked about quality, and they used the word taste a lot. So clearly the product itself and how it tastes and the quality of the product is king, and it probably should be, right? So that matters. Number three, the variety. They talked a lot about how they liked being able to try new vegetables and recipes. So this variety piece, not just, going to the grocery store and picking the same old safe 5 vegetables all the time. They want somebody to push them to try new things, and they liked that. Now, I will say here that I do have customers that don't renew every year, and I always ask them kind of as an exit interview, like, why aren't you renewing? And one of the top reasons is, well, I just didn't like it that I didn't have control over my box. There were things in there that I didn't know what to do with, that I didn't like, that I wouldn't have chosen myself. It was almost like these people were telling me, the ones that drop out, are saying, I don't like the variety. I want to have more staples. And so I don't know if you're catching that, but I am repelling that customer because they don't match my customer avatar here. The people that match my farm best, that really love CSA, are people that love variety and that don't want to have the same thing every week. So that's okay. That's really powerful information. Let's not try to change those people that just want the same 6 things every week. Let's embrace the fact that we're going to attract people that love variety, and let's just talk about that and highlight that, and we'll get those customers instead of getting ones that are upset with us because they didn't get carrots every week. Number 4, access to organic food. Now, we happen to be a certified organic farm, so this is another key thing for many of them. They picked us, and because we're organic, they like the fact that that we have that certification. And there was a lot of comment about food security and just this phrase, knowing where my food comes from. So when you see my survey results that I sent you, you're going to see that phrase over and over again. I know where my food comes from. And what you can do when you have those buzzwords and those buzz phrases that show up over and over again in your surveys, that tells you that those are tripping lines. Like when you put that phrase in your advertising copy, and people are going to buzz, they're going to respond to it. So when I go through my surveys, if I see phrases that repeat over and over again, I know that that's something that's going to attract my customer avatar. And so I will highlight those. That's partly why you saw all those green highlighted sections. I'll highlight some of those pieces because I'll know, hey, put the word fresh, put the word taste in your copy, put the word local in your advertising copy somewhere, because that's what people are looking for. My customer avatar is looking for that. And if I stick it in there, they'll go, oh. Number 5, they talked about how they loved the recipes, the videos, the training for how to use the veggies. And this is something that we have really started to focus on. I'm actually developing an online course for this. And I'm kind of trialing it on my CSA this year, and they are super responsive to it. I'm really excited to see them growing, and they are giving me lots of positive feedback. So this piece of I'm educating them, I'm training them, I'm not just giving them a box of vegetables, but our CSA is going the extra mile and really equipping them on how to use it. That's valuable to them. Number 6, this idea that they want to eat more healthy. That was not as high up on the values chain here, but it did show up. So there may be times when you want to really highlight those features. And then finally, networking, the networking in the community that was created. So I talked with you in that other video I made about the Facebook group, how powerful that was. That particular tool has helped I call them my tribe, really get connected. They're talking to each other. They're realizing that they're like-minded. They're learning from each other. I'm not the only coach now, but there's other people in there that are coaching each other to greatness. And so that networking piece is highly valuable to a lot of them, and they see that as an asset. Okay, so I'm just showing you the power of surveys. You get such good stuff when you read through that. You're like, wow, this is what they want from me. This is what they value. Now I take this information and I put it into my website copy. I put it into my Facebook ads. When I create my freebies that I give away through my website, the stuff that I'm creating is based on what I know my customer avatar values because they told me. So I hope this is helping. It's really powerful to figure out who are the majority of your customers. What do they look like? What do they value? What are the problems that they want you to help solve? You are a guide for them. They're coming to you as a guide. And so you have to figure out where to take them on their journey and help them answer those questions. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Like I said, since there's just a few of you, I'm going to email you guys. Number one, I'm going to email you that customer avatar exercise. So if you want to take the time to go through that, you can. And I'm also going to email you this document right here that's got my customers' responses to the survey. Number one, because I think you might be able to copy some of these questions when you make your own survey. I think they're powerful questions. And number two, I think just skimming through some of their responses will really help you get some ideas for what kind of person makes a great CSA customer. We have some really great CSA customers, and I'll say that when we first started several years ago, we did not. We probably about half of our 12 people were what I would call our ideal audience, and over time the other 5 kind of dropped out, and we began, we kept replacing them year after year, and slowly over time we are becoming more, our retention rate is going up. I think partly because more and more of our ideal customer avatar people are being attracted to us and they're staying with us. So this does take time, but I think you can shorten that time period if you're really clear about what a good CSA customer looks like. You don't want somebody that's looking for a deal, that's just looking to get the cheapest vegetable possible. You want somebody that sees this relationship with you as valuable, who's willing to spend extra money for your product than they would get at a grocery store or frankly at a farmer's market. They are not just paying for the vegetable itself, they are paying for the whole experience, the community, the variety, the relationship, the local piece, the training. All of that is what they're paying top dollar for. So I think if you get really clear about what your customer values and then you deliver for them, you don't have to apologize for having a higher priced item. You can feel good about what you're giving them. All right, so look for this email to come to you, and I will start working on another video in a couple days that's going to show you how to set up a Facebook ad. All right, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and if you know anybody that you think would benefit from this page, please share it with them. Thanks, guys. Yeah.